Formula One's pit lane is supposed to be the safest part of the track. Controlled, organized, calculated down to the millisecond. But every so often, it becomes something else entirely. A narrow tunnel of chaos, a place where a single mistake can turn a routine stop into a disaster. Today, we're diving into one of the strangest and most shocking categories of F1 accidents. The times when Formula One cars hit each other in the pit lane. These aren't high-speed, wheel-to-wheel collisions. They're something more surprising, because they happen where crashes shouldn't happen at all. Welcome back to the channel. This is when F1 cars hit each other in the pit lane. To understand these collisions, you first need to understand what the pit lane really is. It's a construction site, a military operation, and a traffic jam, all happening at once. Mechanics are inches from cars traveling at up to 80 kilometers per hour. Teams are performing stops in 2 seconds or less, and drivers are trying to gain positions without technically racing each other. In this environment, the smallest miscommunication can turn catastrophic. And history shows it has. Let's start with one of the most infamous pit lane crashes in Formula One history, the 2008 Canadian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Räikkönen, and Robert Kubica all dove into the pits during a safety car. Hamilton was leading, but after the stops, the 3 cars lined up side by side at the pit exit. Except the exit light was red. Räikkönen and Kubica stopped. Hamilton did not. He slammed straight into the back of Räikkönen's Ferrari, launching the rear of the car into the air. Kubica barely escaped. The impact ended Hamilton's race instantly. It also destroyed Räikkönen's car. And ironically, this moment set up Robert Kubica's one and only Formula One victory. Hamilton later said he simply didn't see the red light. But the FIA didn't care. He got a 10-place grid penalty for the next race. This collision didn't happen during a battle. It didn't happen in a corner. It happened because the most dominant driver of his generation missed a stoplight. If Canada 2008 is the most famous pit lane crash, then Hockenheim 1994 might be the most chaotic. During the race, Jos Verstappen, yes, Max Verstappen's father, pulled in for a routine stop. Everything looked normal until fuel began spraying everywhere. The Benetton was engulfed in a fireball. But while the world remembers the flames, most people forget what happened just moments before. A pile-up in the pit lane. As mechanics scrambled to put out the fire, other cars were still driving into the pits. Drivers locked up, slid, and collided as smoke filled the air. It wasn't just a crash. It was a chain reaction of panic. This incident, along with others that season, led the FIA to revise pit lane speed limits and refueling regulations. It was the moment the sport realized the pit lane could be just as dangerous as the track. Most pit lane collisions today come from a single, avoidable error, the unsafe release. That's when a team releases their driver into the path of another car. Sometimes it's a near miss. Other times, it's metal on metal. Let's look at a few of the most outrageous examples. Mark Webber's pit stop went horribly wrong when his right rear tire wasn't secured. The wheel flew loose, bounced across the pit lane, and hit a cameraman. But as the chaos unfolded, several cars nearly ran into the stray wheel and each other. It wasn't a direct car-on-car collision, but it showed just how dangerous a mistake in the pit lane can be. After this, the FIA increased safety protocols and reduced the number of cameramen allowed in the lane. This one was simple. Williams released Valtteri Bottas directly into the path of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton turned into his pit box, Bottas came out of his, and boom, they collided. Hamilton's race was compromised, Bottas got a penalty, and Williams got a fine. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't explosive, but it showed how tiny errors create huge consequences. This was a big one. Red Bull released Max Verstappen into the path of Bottas, who was already in the pit lane. The two made contact, damaging Bottas's car and forcing him into an extra stop. Verstappen got a time penalty, Bottas lost positions, and Mercedes were furious. In Monaco, where track position is everything, this pit lane crash decided the race. Not all pit lane crashes are caused by unsafe releases or red lights. Some are just weird. The Nürburgring was hit by a freak rainstorm. Cars were sliding everywhere, including in the pit entry. One of the strangest moments saw drivers losing control as they tried to pit, sliding past their garages or even into other cars crawling down the lane. It wasn't a single collision. It was a collection of low-speed, embarrassing bumps that showed even the pit lane can turn into a skating rink. Eddie Irvine overshot his pit box. Jacques Villeneuve was driving down the lane, and Irvine just drifted into him. It looked like something out of a parking lot, not a Formula One race. Villeneuve was furious, mechanics were scattering, and the incident became one of the strangest low-speed crashes of the decade. In 2020, pandemic protocols meant fewer mechanics and stricter pit lane spacing. During the race, a sudden wave of stops created a pit lane traffic jam. Carlos Sainz was released too close to an approaching Williams and clipped it. It wasn't dramatic, but it was awkward, like watching someone reverse into a shopping cart. With all the regulations, speed limits, and safety protocols, you might wonder, why do pit lane collisions still happen in F1? 3 reasons. 1. Pressure. Every pit stop is a race moment. 1 second lost can mean a position lost. 2. Human error mechanics use hand signals, sensors, and instinct. Drivers rely on mirrors and radio messages. Any delay or miscommunication can cause impact. 3. Limited visibility. The pit lane is narrow. Drivers can't see directly beside or behind them. They trust their teams, and sometimes that trust leads straight into another car. After decades of pit lane chaos, the FIA introduced a series of measures: speed limits, strict unsafe release penalties, mandatory wheelgun sensor systems, restrictions on personnel, dedicated pit lane marshals, clearer light systems. And yet, crashes still happen. Because no matter how controlled the pit lane becomes, it's still part of a competitive environment where milliseconds matter, where tension is high, where mistakes are punished instantly, and where 800 horsepower race cars operate inches from humans. Not all pit lane crashes are equal. Some cost teams an absolute fortune. Here are a couple of the most expensive. 1. Hamilton versus Raikkonen, 2008. 2 top-tier cars destroyed. Championship implications and a penalty. 2. Bottas versus Verstappen, 2019 Monaco. New front wing, new tires, extra pit stop. Mercedes estimated the total cost at over $150,000 for a collision at jogging speed. The pit lane is a strange paradox. It's slow, but dangerous. It's organized, but chaotic. It's controlled, but unpredictable. Crashes in the pit lane aren't about bravery or speed. They're about precision, and what happens when that precision fails. A single wrong release, a missed light, a slippery surface, a miscommunication, and suddenly 2 of the most advanced machines on Earth collide in the one place they shouldn't. Pit lane crashes might not be the most dramatic in terms of speed, but they are some of the most surprising and often the most preventable. And they remind us that in Formula One, danger isn't just found in high-speed corners. Sometimes it's waiting right outside the team garage. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the strangest pit lane collisions in F1 history, hit that like button, subscribe for more crash-focused videos, and comment below. Which pit lane crash shocked you the most? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for another deep dive into the wild world of Formula One crashes.